Okay. Welcome everyone to Salesforce Admin San Ramon User Group meeting. Here we share knowledge and network. I request everyone to put yourself on mute and only open your mic if you have to ask a question or when requested. So we meet here monthly to learn about Salesforce, and thanks very much for joining us this Saturday morning in the Bay Area. Whether you are brand new to Salesforce, starting your career, mid-career, or skilling up for a new opportunity, we are your study buddies and trail buddies as per the Salesforce terms. So please follow us on social media. Stay tuned with all our updates. Links will be posted in the chat. And we post our videos and share PDFs from the presenters on YouTube and Trailblazer community. I will be posting the links in the chat so you can stay connected with us on Chatter. To view our previous videos, you can visit our YouTube channel. And Deepti had presented us a presentation on Flow last, I think, few months back, and we called her again by popular demand. So this month we have invited Deepti Kalria again for her second session on flows to focus through flow automation using Loop and Apex Action. Thank you for joining us today, and we appreciate your participation and continued support. I'm Shiba Tukral, your host, and this is a short bio on me. I'm a co-founder of kindcause.org and senior Salesforce administrator at Jamf. I've been the community leader since the beginning of 2020. And I have 9 super badges, 9 Salesforce certifications, and I'm 4 times Ranger. I was also elected as a community group leader in the board, in the CGL board. And we have over 500 members in San Ramon group now. So some rules, house rules, turn on your camera if possible. Mute your mics unless to ask a question. Post your questions in the chat and be engaging, ask questions, participate, network, and be polite and respectful. So I hand it over to Deepti. She's a senior Salesforce consultant, and she's also a leader at Salesforce User Group, Ahmedabad. So I'll hand it over to Deepti to give us a brief introduction, and we are excited to learn from her presentation. Welcome, Deepti. Let's stop the share.
Thank you, Shiba. Thank you, Shiba, for this wonderful experience and inviting me again in the same group. So hello, everyone. Good. I can hear my echo.
I request, yeah.
Thank you. So hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are from. Very warm welcome, and thanks for giving me this opportunity and you all joined this session. So myself, Deepti Kalria, let me introduce myself. I do have 8 years plus experience in the only Salesforce domain, working currently in an architect role, having extensive experience in a CPQ and CLM domain. That's my expertise. Other than that, I involved in the multiple group as a speaker, as a mentor, Supermom community mentor I am, as well as the SheForce IT member I am. So that there are the multiple engagement I do handle. And I am here today to share my knowledge with the flow. And I will be happy if you guys share your knowledge and experience that you had any question or your comment if you are aware about it. So it's all about knowledge sharing. On a personal note, I really enjoyed to sharing my knowledge and joining such an event. And it's all about networking, and Salesforce do promote that. And we also be the part of community. So it's better that we all engage in this community. Nice. Okay. So let's get started. So as I do many sessions this is the very common question that I got from every group whenever I do sessions, that Salesforce have a multiple release and they do have a many features coming in every 3 months. Why should we do learn all this? And what is the benefit out of it? Like, so this is a very common question that I got it. So I'll answer this question with a little bit different way. So it's a story about Asian time when we do the wood cutting. So at the time, there was a man who is a very honest, very loyal, and that man is do the wood cutting for their honor. And that is about his daily task. He did it around a couple of years, around like 5, 6 years, and his honor is quite happy with him. What happened that after a few years that honors business grow, he get a very good opportunity in other areas, so he hired another person. And that another person name is like, suppose we give a name is Alex is the name of that person. So Alex joined and he does little bit slightly different work. So earlier there was a John who was doing a very hard work, very loyal, but when Alex joined, Alex work or methodology is different. Alex is taking every hour 5 minute break and then do their work and then again came back and start cutting the wood, and wood cutting is going on and on. So then sometime because of this behavior, John is sometimes frustrated and but he didn't share his feeling because he thought that I am an older one and honor trusts me more. So I didn't take care about that, how we do. Now the 1 year passed. It's time for the increment. Everyone has passed from this cycle. So it's time from the increment. And it was strange happened. Alex, who just joined and just 1 year passed, he got 25% increment. And John, who was working with the honor since more than 6 or 7 years, he just got 15% increment. And John is literally shocked that what is happened with me? Why it's just only 15% to me? He just run away to the honor and arguing them that I'm doing this, this. But why this is with me? This me only, though Alex is new. In that case, honor put a very numbers in front of him that you do 3 bunch of wood cutting daily and Alex do 5 bunch of wood cutting daily. So I took a decision based on the output that both of you had. In that case, totally surprised, John asked that how it could be possible. I even take a break and I do continue work, and Alex took a break, and how he could do the more cutting than me. They both directly run to the platform where John was doing his work, Alex was doing his work, and they both show that in a 1 hour when Alex took a break, so every hour he took a break. What he do in a day when he took a break? He go to the place where there is a stones are available. He go and use rubbing off his axe and sharpening the its axe, and then come back and do the again wood cutting. So meaning and moral of the story is that it's not always to do work. We do have to sharpen our skills also, and it's required. It's every 3 months when we have a new release, we have to skill up ourselves, which is available in the market, which is given by Salesforce. So recommendation is that whenever we have something new, there is a flow or stable CRM or any new facilities available. I suppose Salesforce acquire a new cloud and we get a new opportunity to explore that domain. Just go for it. Expand your knowledge, at least learning what's going on. Not I'm saying directly jump in starting, but at least be aware of it. Okay. So with this, let's start session today. Let me know when you guys can see my screen. Anyone have any feedback for this story? Do you believe in this or not?
Yes, sharpening the saw, very important.
Very important.
Yes, definitely.
Good, nice. Is my screen visible for all of you? Let me know.
Yes.
Okay. So in today's session, we will go through the step-by-step automation of flow using a loop and Apex section. So how many developers are in this current meeting? Just raise your hand. So based on that, I will set a context. Okay, there's one. Ayushi. Okay, nice. Anyone else? Okay. Gautam. Nice. To count. Good. Very nice. Okay. So then for the developers, loop is not a new word. It's a known word for them, I would say. So for them, it's little bit easy to understand what I'm explaining. But the people who are belongs to the admin background or who are new in this area, for them, I will explain loop in a different way. So you understood what is exactly the loop is. Okay. So let's start it. Today's session. For today's session, we have agenda. First, that what is the loop in a Salesforce flow? Second, components of a loop. What are the components in a loop? Third, I'll go through the demo that how loop works. Fourth, best practices while we use a loop. Fifth one, how to send the data between flow and Apex, because we completely can't out of the Apex. We do have a relationship with Apex along with a flow. Then how we can manage that relationship? So for that, we have a flow and Apex relationship. And demo of that, how we can do the communication between them. And last Q&A. Okay. Let's start with the first thing. What is the loop in a Salesforce flow? So this is the standard definition that a loop is a software flow element. Element is a kind of one part of action element that used to iterate through a number of items. And number of items is under a collection of variable. Okay. So to give a more insight in this, let me show you something. Okay. 1 second. I'm pausing the share and again reshare. Is my screen visible with the Salesforce Flow video recording available? Yes. Okay, nice. I'm playing this recording. Can you guys tell me if you hear it or not? Can you hear this volume?
No.
No? Okay.
Deepti, you might have to share the computer sound from the office.
To share the sound.
Okay, now play. Have you shared the sound?
I am able to share it. Second. Hello?
Yes, Deepti. The flow. Are you playing the video?
Yeah, I'm playing, but will you guys see? Will you guys can hear me?
No.
Can you do one?
It's not audible.
Can you share, Shiba, and then once it's done, we can unshare it if it's work for you.
Let me check. Because I made you the host, co-host. No, I'm not seeing that option of computer sound.
Share screen.
Do you want to do the other part first and maybe come back to this?
Yeah. Okay, just I will play the recording and do the voiceover, so at least it will be fine. And then it's easy for me also. Okay. Okay. So this is the flow, and in the flows, these all are the records. Can you hear me? What am I speaking?
Yes.
Okay, nice. So in the flow, how we will work? So assume these all are our records. Okay. In this all records, we would like to do the different operation on a different records. So in that case, we operates on these records. How we will operate? That we will show you. So this is the man who have a refrigerator, and in his refrigerator, he have a different item. This all box have a different item. And he would like to sort it out the items based on the criteria of expiry date. That's his criteria, that he would like to sort it out. If the expiry date is there on the boxes, he would like to throw it away. And if it's not, then he would like to keep. How he will sort? So he will first keep the each box and put it. That means keep each box. That means we are getting the records. This is my refrigerator. In the refrigerator, I do have my all records. This is my database, all records. And I'm retrieving the all records. That's my get record. I took a one box and then I put on a table. That means I retrieve all records and put on a table. This is record available, and now I'm iterating on single records. That means this is a loop. A loop, how we will do? We will take one by one records. So I take a one records, check the records expiry date, and then label that records. Whatever I would like to do the operation, keep or remove. Then here I keep the records. Once I would like to keep the records, I go for the next record and check it. So example, this man is put down the notes that this is the safe to eat, and he will keep one side this and add this tagged record in a one box, that this is the item which I would like to keep it. That means he put in a keep box this item. He like it and he want that proceed for the next time, not for now, but he wants to keep it in the database. Now he took a second item and think of it, is it fill the criteria? That means is it belongs to the, is it enough fresh to keep it or not? If it's not, what it do? It put it to the another box. Another box, that means he don't want to keep that item with it and he put it into next box. That means he separate out something based on the criteria, and the items that he would like to put in the refrigerator again, that's he keep in the box, and other he put it in the next box. Okay. Then once everything is done, he will throw out this garbage to the another space. That means either we will delete the record or we will remove the, we will unprocess this record. That means this is our targeted actions that we would like to execute. Okay. So this is the Salesforce loop. And this is a simple example to understand the Salesforce loop. Is it any question in this simplest example, how the loop means? Any question? Okay, I take it as a no. Let's take the next thing. I'm sharing it. Let me know when you guys can see my presentation. Okay. What are the components here in the loop? First component is a collection variable. If I relate these things with the existing demo that we recently played, that is the items, number of items available in my fridge. That's called collection variable. Next one, loop variable. I pick one box, I pick one box and check this expiry date is there in not. That's called a loop variable. The variable on which we are working right now. That's called a loop variable. Third one, direction. In which direction we would like to take it. So if I would like to take it from the large box to the small box or small box to the large box, that means in a sequence, there are some sequence that we defined in a loop and based on that we iterate it. That's called direction. Now, we look at the demo. Any confusion in this three component? Feel free to ask me.
Yeah, I have one question. Can you repeat
Okay.
collection variable?
Fine. Good. Let me share my environment screen and we walk through the demo. Okay. Is my Salesforce environment visible for all?
Yes.
Yeah. Good. Let me open the flow. First we will see how flow design. Okay. For that, we can go to the flows, and from flows, we can start with the new flow and flow design will start. So for the definition perspective, I do have a scenario that we will look at a demo is like that. When we have any opportunity is a closed one, that means customer is ready for the engagement with a company. That is called opportunity closed one. At that time, we would like to see the total amount that for which amount customer is ready for engagement. That means what is the budget of customers. In that budget, we would like to capture an opportunity when any opportunity is closed one. So when this is a scenario happen when sales guy is go to the any of the lead and prospect, he discussed it and he said that we would like to buy the product XYZ, and this XYZ product, for that buying that product I have a budget of 1 million or 2 million. So that means 1 million and 2 million budget for buying XYZ product, that is the opportunity value, an opportunity amount. So whenever any opportunity won, we would like to capture that amount. How we will capture that is, let's see in the use case perspective first. Okay. So I will show you that. Opportunity. So this is my opportunity. And on this opportunity, I do have a relationship of a product. So this is the products which is we are planning to sell with the opportunity. This products and opportunity is in a parent-child relationship. This is master and this is detail. And this have a direct relationship. So every opportunity had a products. Now, how we will add new product is I go to the related list and click on add and I can add the product. Suppose I'm a customer, I added the products and click on next. My product is added. I decided the quantity that I will do the 3 quantity, 2 quantity, whatever it is. And this is the sales price. And this is multiplication of this 2 will be give the final value. So I added this 2 price. I did it for this opportunity, everything. And now I mentioned that on a channel that this opportunity is ready for the engagement. So make it a close. I select the stage and make it as a close stage. Close one and save. When I this performance, then my total opportunity value is updated. That means these are the budget for the opportunity engagement. This is the use case. Now let's see how we will handle this in a flow. Okay. So let's go to the flow. Here, opportunity creation. On that, I do have the operation performed. Just a second. 1 second, Lisa. I share the screen. Is my screen visible? Okay. So this is the opportunity starts. In the flow, first step is starting the opportunity. So start step, it's mentioned that from wherever record trigger flow starts. So for this, I prepared the record trigger flow. And in the record trigger flow, first step is on the opportunity when record is updated. Give me a second, guys.
I have a question while she's taking her call.
Yeah.
We're sort of debating about how many flows you should have.
So for this opportunity, we choose the record as a closed one because we would like to update the status, and this closed one status is updated status, not a created status, because any opportunity won't start with the closed one. It start with open stage. So it's a process that start with the record updated. Here, when record is updated, what we are checking? There are two things we are checking, that stage name is a closed one and stage name field is change is true. Why we need to add these values? Is the stage name change true? Because if we will not check that this variable is changed or not, it will trigger every time. Whenever record is updated, that time this flow is triggered. So to avoid unnecessary trigger of this flow, we add these values. This is the entry criteria for my flow to start. Okay. And this is two actions. The last call we discussed about this. This is before update and this, this is before insert and before update, or after insert, after update. This fast forward is a before action and related action is after. Okay. Let's click on done. This is my entry criteria set. Now I will query all the records. So for query all the records, I have an operation get records. In the get records, we query all the opportunity, which is currently updated. We query all the records with stage is a closed one. All record I queried. Then we start with the loop because we don't know how many records in an environment used by a number of people and how they operate it. So for that, we iterate over a loop. And how we will handle the loop. So for this loop, input is this all variables, which is coming as an opportunity. What does the loop do? This is my collection variable. I took a one variable in which I hold all the data. Here, if I explain with the example I showed, this is my refrigerator where I hold all my data. This variable. Then there is a direction. Do I keep a small box to the large box or large box to the small box? That's my direction. First item to the last item or last item to the first item. Okay. We have a three component collection variable, a loop element and direction. Here we show the collection variable and direction. Now we jump to the loop variable. Okay. This is the loop variable on which we process. Okay, let me open this, how it works. So this is the one variable I retrieve from it. And how we will retrieve from it? This is the current item from loop where we do have all prices that I have for each opportunity records. So I queried all my products, opportunity products, then store the prices of each product into this variable. Okay. Once I queried and done, add that price into the one assignment variable. This all prices we stored into the different variable. And once this is done, I assign that value once all is done and after last. That means once this all loop operations for every record is done, it goes to the last. And at the last, it updates the value on opportunity record itself. Here, if you can see, we queried the record for opportunity product object, where opportunity is updated into goes one. We query all products and we iterate on each product. We get the price, store the price in one variable. Once price is done, we store that prices into the one variable. Now, once this is done, we go back to the close one opportunities action update. This is the chatter action. So then Why does this chatter action is required? Because Salesforce supports the chatter to announcement. So there are the sales guy that generally works in a team, and they would prefer to announce in a team that this is the opportunity ready so anyone can pick it. But for that purpose, generally there are sometimes group works is there. We prefer to do the announcement on a chatter. So this is the chatter action. In the chatter action, we will have a one message pop up that all closed won opportunities up to date. Whenever this flow fired, this chatter action is posted. I will just overview for these two things because in last time also we covered this fault tolerance. So in the flow, there is a capacity that if your flow fails, if your process fails, then we can capture that failure. So this is the failure part. Okay. So that generally how we can do it. So suppose I would like to handle this flow, and here, let me delete this. Okay. And show you that. Here, this is the delete path, fault path. I delete it. Now, if I would like to add fault path, I can add it. That means this fault path is showing that if your flow fails, what should you would like to trigger? I would like to trigger the actions to be copied, right? So what I can do is I can copy this action and add it here. That means it stores the data when any record fail into this another variable that's called error log. So I can read the data that why it's failed and the purpose of failure, and I can handle that flow. So this is error handling. Generally, this error handling earlier were not supported. This is the main concept of a coding. But as Flow started supporting almost concept, all the concept are related to the Apex coding. So it supports similar concept also here, that error handling, try catch that we generally said in a developer world, that supports here. So once this is done, every step, preferably we add the fault. So we get to know that in which stage our execution stop. Okay. Very important part is debug. Once we finish the flow, we preferably do the debug, right? In the debug, what we do? In debug allows to select the records. So I select any record and then click on run. Okay. I click on run. It shows me that what exactly happened. This flow starts. That means it shows that on this record, this is a record ID flow start. Start condition. The start condition is not matched. That means if I will run the flow, start not match, it's stop from that. Now debug again. We pick the different record. Okay. Okay, I pick this record. What is our entry criteria is the stage, right? My stage supposed not to be the close one. Then I change the stage and okay, I change the stage as a close one and save this. It's not triggered because I need to convert to test. This is the another way to test the opportunity. So I'm converting my record into the testable record. Okay. This, sorry, I just query, this is the manual action that we will do it, right? So here, the first action is we get all the record. So I'm capturing first all the records. Okay. And equals to the source variable. So here we need to create the variables. This takes time for all assertions. So this is the new way to check the assertions and all, but it took some time. So I will not go for it. We can expand this. Okay. Now let's go back here and I took a cancel and let's go back to the org itself and operate same thing. From new, I'm creating the opportunity with this test demo 2 and click on save. All required information I should have to give it. And close date and click on save stages again. So I'm keeping prospecting stage because I still need to update the products. So I go to the products, add the products here. And click on next. There's the quantity 1, 1, 1, 2, and 1, and click on save. Product is saved. Now we go back to the opportunity and make it as a closed and close one. We do have a price available right now. This is the out of the box field which shows the value when we created and it stores the default value. And this is our field which we created. So now if I will set the value closed one and make it the selected closed state as a closed one and click on save, this value is updated here. Okay. Any question in this loop?
Deepti, there were 2 questions. Shelly, do you want to directly ask her?
Okay. Nice. I take it as a no. Let's jump back to the session again. So ideally, when we do the demo, preferably is we choose the scenario. This is our scenario. And suggested way is that first go through the pen and paper and design your solution. We saw the solution on a system itself first, because in a first session, we went through this, then we know that how to do and design everything. So we just went to this, but the persons who joined this session first time, for them, I recommended that first draw flow requirement on a pen and paper. So here we had a first entry criteria that stage is close one, get all opportunity record, iterate on each record, store into the another variable, and add that variable into the opportunity field and post on Chatter. Yeah, I think one hand raised. Yeah, hello, Jed.
Hi, I don't think you can hear us, can you?
Any question? Please unmute yourself.
Seems like Deepti
Yeah.
doesn't hear us.
Yeah, looks like I'm just trying to call, I'm going to call her just 1 second.
We cannot hear you.
I'm trying to call her, okay? So on phone, so let me just call her.
Is it me only? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Deepti, people
Yeah.
are trying to ask questions from you. I think you can't hear us.
Now I can hear you.
Okay. Jade, there were 2 questions actually on in the chat.
Yeah, sure,
Yeah,
please.
I didn't have a question. I just wanted to let you know your laptop is about to die.
Yeah. I charged again. Thanks. Yes,
Okay,
yes.
thank you, Jade, for that. And Shelly, do you want to ask that question from Deepti? So Shelly's question was, can you please show the error element?
Okay, would you like to see it? Yeah, sure. I'll cover that part also. Error element. Yep.
Thank you, Deepti.
Yeah.
And there was
Any
one
other
more
question?
How many flows should you have by object?
Yeah, so how many flows by object? There are the best practices part that I covered in my last session. So what Salesforce recommendation best practices for each object. Suppose I consider one object as opportunity, then for opportunity object, I have ideally two flows. One flow is for opportunity create, another flow is opportunity update. If there is a requirement, preferably keep two flows separate. If we have a two flow separate, benefit is that we can control by order, execution order. Then that's the first benefit. Second benefit is when we have a flow running at that time, if there is a two options like creation and updation, then we need to check every action very complex. Like I say that if new record is created and XYZ value, then trigger this action. And if a new record, if a record update YZ values, then update this record. So in that case, what it happen is single flow. I capture, insert, update, change everything and make multiple combinations of this, which slows my performance, which loads heavily as a performance specific on a record. So suggestion, every record, every object, two action and two action specific to record. Suppose in case we do have a possible solution that, take my battery. Yeah. So if this is the case, right, that I have a multiple flow requirement for my single object, then suggestion is that always give an order. So I'll show you that how to give an order in a flow. So then suggestion is give an order to the flow. Then you control the execution. Otherwise, control of execution is not in your hand. How Salesforce will identify the execution of control? That's based on, there are criteria that I will not go in a depth. There are multiple criteria, 7 to 8 criteria that I covered in the last session. So you can visit the session and check it. Then it triggers according to their criteria. And your expected output will come or not come. I think I answered your question. If still any doubts, I will be happy to answer. It's a question for Opwin 7, right? How many objects? Yep, thanks. Okay, let me reshare my screen. Okay, once this is designed, after that, these are the best practices. I always recommend that when you explore any new thing in Salesforce, just go for best practices because that helps you to avoid the errors. That helps you to understand the purpose of feature. It's not the purpose of feature when a new feature comes, it's not that it supports all things, what you demand. It supports limited things, but effectively. So when you use the loops, first thing, never perform DML within the statements, within the inside DML statements within the loop. Suppose I queried one record, that means one processing one element, and same time I'm updating that element, same time I'm deleting another things which is based on this value. Don't do that. Never DML inside the loop. Second one, never query any record based on the performing operation that you are doing in a loop. That's totally not allowed. This DML is very sensitive, so I preferably say that always use DML with wisely and as and when required. Else you just query the records and keep it with you and then processing it. Third one, to store the process data assigned into the new variable. So preferably is used not to use the same variable while you are doing operations. Suppose I store. So if I am using the variable, then just keep the value inside it and keep another variable for storing the performed value, not overriding the values. It executes it executes on a longer time because operations on a variable took a longer time. Okay, these are the best practices. So before going to the next topic, you guys would like to see the error part. Let me quickly jump back to the org and show you that. Okay, this is the object error part. So in this error log, what I'm doing is I had one custom object. This is my custom object. In the custom object name is the error log. I created fields in the error log where I'm capturing the records, on which record the flow is operating, on which operation flow is operating, who is the person who did the action for the specific record. That's a user ID and the fault message. These are the captured value. I am keeping it. It's a normal normal Salesforce operation, the storing a records or creating a records. That means whenever any fault happen, I am capturing that information. Okay, this is just storing it. How it behaves. Let me show that if I do have variable, sorry, if I can go to the org and show that error logs, right? This is the object. These are the error logs where I can read the problem. What's the problem? And because of that, the flow fails. This is the before insert action. This is my object, and this is the error. And this is the reason that flow fails. Generally, if you are an owner and if you are a person who created the flow, if flow breaks, you get a mail. That's the out of the box Salesforce capacity that we get. But if I'm a tester, if I am a business user and the flow fails, I didn't get a mail. How do I know that my flow is failing? The action is not performed. I'm doing the right thing because this is a screen flow. I didn't get any message on my screen. How can I get it? Then there's the error log mechanism where business user can go and check the flow is a failing. He can see his name here and he can get all the information that this is the reason that my flow is failing and I'm the person for this failure. This is the error logging. Okay. Any doubt here in the error logging mechanism?
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, welcome. Let's go back to the presentation. Okay. Yeah. Next is how to we do the handshake between the Apex and the flow. So if you are a developer or if you are not, you know about there are the word called Apex classes, right? How these Apex classes work. So for these Apex classes, we have a facility that we can do any customization. We can do any operation with the class. But when we want this complex logic available and would like to trigger with the flow based on the demand, then there is a handshake required between the flows and Apex. And that handshake is possible with the invocable method. Earlier, the invocable method was supported with the process builder, not with the workflow. But right now, this is process builder as well as workflow supports this invocable method. So this is one annotation. So we can add it in Apex class. I will show you that very soon. Prepare one Apex class where we would like to have a complex solution. So when this requirement comes in a picture, so based on my experience, I share. So there are some clients, they want flows in a place for their easy work. But once their work is done, they would prefer to go back and operate on existing process, which is they settle down in Apex class. So then in that case, they would support that this existing logic must be called from a flow, not auto trigger, not from trigger. So that case, this Apex flow with Apex action will support. Now, once we had invocable method ready, we can query the input variable in a flow. Suppose I would like to query the account related records and do actions on account, then we can call it from that flow. Third one, set invocable method in a flow. That is the one configuration that we do in a flow and pass the queried record from the flow. Fourth one, after processing that records, we store that into some other variable or we can do a DML operation within a class. That's all up to you. So that's a 4 basic step. First, prepare the Apex class with invocable method. Second, query the variables in a flow. Third, pass that variable into the Apex class. And fourth, if you want, you can do the operation within the flow or outside the flow in Apex class. These are the 4 actions. Now, let's jump to the demo. In that, I'm picking the scenario. It's a very simplest one because I assume that people who join this group, I'm keeping this very baseline. So if you have any query, you can reach out to me separately to extension version of this Apex and Flow handshake. Okay. Scenario is very simple. When we have a new account is created, auto create the contact with the spoke information. Spoke is a single point of contact. This is the very simplest use case, but demanded by every customer when we just generally work in a CPQ and CLM domain. So this is example when sales guy goes to any company and asks the basic information, and he says, who is the contact person, single point of contact from your company. That means that's a spoke. But if we will convert that sales guy's journey into the app Salesforce journey, then that's company is our account and single point of contact is our contact in our Salesforce world. That means I capture every data on a first record, only single record, and handle by backend that value separations will be done. Okay. Any question in the use case specific? Okay, I consider as a no. Is there any question in a chat?
No, Deepti. We're good
Yeah.
so far. Mhm.
Nice. Okay, let me go back to the org. Hi, yeah, is this the org available? And we check this, okay? So suppose, first I will show the demo, how this use case is. So if, for example, I'm a sales guy, I'm going for the one of the company who is a partner company of me, my current company, and I created the partner kind of account. And why this, like out of just adding different flavor in this session, why this pop-up window is visible when I click on new? Anyone would like to answer?
It's a record type, different record.
Yeah.
Because of record type.
Yes, nice, thanks. Okay, I took a selection of record type and click on next. Let me give a account name. So for account, suppose we say the kind cause CBAS company is my customer, partner customer. I'm going there and asking for the basic information. They are my active partner. Yes. Then I click on save. It reminds me that I also should have to capture the information for the persons. What are the person's detail? So for example, we took information as here, the SIBA, okay, and its contact number, I give any number, random number, and email, I give this and save. These are the basic default validations supported by Salesforce. I click on save. As and when my account created, I have the personal information available on a contact. I didn't created the contact, created just an account, and on the account, when it creates, it's captured the records and prepared the contact related it. Okay. Now let's go back and see the how system support. Our first action is we can prepare the Apex class, which is supported the invocable method. So this is my Apex class. I'm not jumping into the detail, but what this class invocable method. So this is the annotation just generally we will give to prepare the class. Okay. So then first, after the class name declaration, I invoke the class invocable methods name and description. Once that is done, I inserted the records and list of contacts are inserted. Once contacts are inserted, how it's inserted? It's capture the value from the account record itself, storing into the list, inserting the list, and again return the list. These are the simplest one. In this method, I capture the data from account, create the new contact, and insert that contact to the database. Okay. Now let's see the flow. Flow is a more simple than this class. Okay, let's go to the flow part. And in the flow, we have one flow available, that's auto create flow, auto create context. I had a entry criteria here. That's when any record is created. After creation of that record, I'll do that operation. So that's after action. Now, create contact. This is the apex action, which I can get it from. When I click on new action, I can get that action. And I had given input as an account, which record from which account I am triggering the action that I had given as an input. Now, once this is get it, the invocable method itself start processing and finish the flow. Here we can add different flavors like editing the records, error logs, and processing the records, store into some other object and display it. So these are the many things which is possible. But for apex action specific, this is the simplest one. Okay. One secret thing I would like to share, not a secret, but for your knowledge perspective, that before any of the record, if I write down a flow and trigger for any of the record, then execution of that flow and trigger is first execute flow and second execute trigger in a before. If there are the flow return, same object, same action, before action. The execution order is first is flow, second is a trigger. You can try it out, and because of time bandwidth and availability, I'm not going to that side right away. Okay. And with this, we are up to end Q&A if you have. Let me share my screen. Q&A if anyone have any questions.
Yeah. So for second one, Apex flow. So we just pass the record ID in flow, right?
Correct. Correct.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes. Nice. No, it's not required. Return back the ID won't required. If we will return, we added that if we would like to proceed it, then also we can get the return record and store it. So in the flow, there is the one of the output variable is like set input variable. There is also capacity to store the output variable. And based on that output variable, we can also trigger the same pending action within the flow. So it's up to you. Would you like to return? Then set it the type of a return type, else not. It's totally fine. That's Aksay's question I answered. Okay. These all are the references. I'll share the slide deck with Shiba. You will get it. This is my Twitter account and LinkedIn account and all. I'll post it into the chatter. You can reach out to me if for any questions. Yeah, over to you, Shiba. If any question is pending, just you can drop here. I will answer later on. Yeah.
So nice, Deepti. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, Shiva, over to you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So with that, I will do one more thing. So it's recording. I just wanted to do this confetti on her profile. I think I'm not sharing screen, so let me share screen and then do it. So with that, I would like to appreciate her sharing knowledge and would like to throw confetti for her.
Lovely, Shiva. Thanks a lot. It's surprising, but exciting also. Thanks. Yes. Okay, so we are now moving on to the next session, which is my session. I'll be sharing some best practices for end user, how to wow the end users with your development work. And I just want to split the screen. You can see my screen, right? Yes, yeah. We can.
Okay. All right. So this is in Notion, and this is my dev environment. So I will be sharing two screens. So this is like a Dream Org improvements. And I have basically clubbed all these features into 3 buckets: simplicity, consistency, and ease of use. So first thing is, the first point I have raised here is that you have to customize your apps. You have to customize your apps as per the user. So use navigation tabs to only show what's relevant to your users. So for instance, this is the Dream Org. And if the user is someone who does not need access to leads or campaigns, then just show the objects that will be relevant to that user. So that's one point. And then moving on, you can create dynamic pages to reduce the fields per page. So you can make a section conditionally visible to one user while hiding it from the other. So for instance, in this shipment record page, when we go to a record and go to the page, in the custom objects, we have fields and components available. So we can make one section conditionally visible to the solution manager, and the other section is not visible to this user. So, and also for the buttons, we can make it conditionally visible to one profile while hidden for the other profile. So for instance, delete or printable view, I want to only make it visible, make delete visible if the status is complete. If it is complete, then the delete button should not be there. And if it should be printable view only for system admin. So I could make those kind of conditions. So the page is trimmer, it's less bulky, and it's only focused at particular user for their needs. So that's the other part. So for instance, if I do log in as the other user, which is a solution manager, I will see fields specific for that user's requirements. So shipment details for solution manager and not for and then delete and printable view are not visible. So when I log out as this user and log back in as a system admin, and go back to shipments page, and I see the different fields, which is not visible to solution manager. And also I can see printable view button, which allows me to print this page, and then delete button when the status is pending. But if I make the status as complete and save it, you see delete button is gone. So that's how through Lightning components, we can use visibility rules to show or hide fields, sections, and buttons. So that's something that end user can really benefit from. And we are going to make the pages and layout specific to that user. So also we can reduce the number of page layouts. So for instance, in many organizations, we have page layouts as per department, like sales or customer service or account services. And we have very long list of page layouts for opportunity, accounts, contacts, etc., which makes it very, creates a technical debt kind of thing, scenario. So, but with the use of Lightning pages, we can reduce that. We can reduce the number of pages. We can make the pages leaner and more specific to particular users. So that was for Lightning features. And then fresh out of oven, newly in summer 22, this newest feature was brought out, which is called dynamic related lists. So basically you can show one object, you can show two related lists for one object. For instance, if I go to accounts and I go to a particular account and go to the related list of this account, I can see opportunities related list over 10,000 amount and opportunities under 10,000. So how we do that? Through dynamic related list. I will go to this record. And I'll go to the related list. And as you see here, I simply drag and drop a button from here, dynamic related list. This one, dynamic related list single. Drag and drop here, and then I can fill this criteria. Use this account, related list, and I can even customize the label here. Opportunities over 10,000, make it like a list type, number of records to display. So there's a limitation here. We can only display up to 30 records. The view all is in the on the roadmap for this feature. It's not yet there. So we have a limit of only 30 records that we can show here in the list view. And we can also sort the fields we want to display here in the related list. And, and we can sort the order, descending or ascending. And we can create list filters. We can create up to 3 filters. So you can say amount greater than 10,000, and we can add more filters up to 3. So this was very recent from summer 22. And as you see, we could have 2 related lists of the same object, while earlier we could not have that. We could not have 2 related lists of the same object. We could only have 1 related list of an object. So the limitations and roadmaps, one is that it's only displays 30 records. The other one is the mobile support. They're still working on that. And also list views is supposed to get some love coming up next year. So they're working on how to get the row count easily, row groupings, column groupings, multi-column sort, easier collaboration on list views, etc. So that's for the list views and the dynamic related list. And then the best practices to reduce load time and increase page performance. We can see this by going to the Lightning usage app from the app launcher. So if I go back, we can see Lightning. This is just a demo org I created just a few days back, especially for this meeting. So if you see, you can see the Lightning usage app here, and then you have mobile browser page. It already shows that which ones are the most viewed pages and the performance. So which page is performing, how is each page performing? So you can see the range on top. Blue is 0 to 3 seconds, and which components of the page are the most, have the most weight. So how to make the pages more efficient. So that's one way to make it really optimal performance for the end user. And you can also have the performance breakdown by component, like related list is the heaviest here. And so we can work on the weak points and make it more efficient. So then display and hide components fields based on profile. I already said that, it's like this. And then you can also set component visibility to hide irrelevant components. So for instance, in this org, go back to the app. For instance, when opportunity, go to a recent opportunity here. And if it is closed and select a stage, say close lost and save, then we see the path has gone because there's no other milestone to be achieved after the opportunity is lost. So it's no longer relevant to show the path. So we could conceal the path through that same set component visibility feature of Lightning page. So if I say closed one again, and you see the path back on. And so for instance, we can, an easy way to wow end user is to show confetti. So if I say customer active and I save it and I see confetti and I say, oh yeah, so it's easy to get pleased by these kind of features. So that was for this part. And then compact layouts to display most important fields. So for instance, here, this section on top is compact fields, compact layouts. And Salesforce can only limits us to show 6 fields on top. If we have up to 10 fields we can drag onto compact layouts, but we can only display up to 6 fields. And the advice is to go easy. Do not crowd too much on top. 3 to 4 fields should be sufficient. So the purpose is to display the most important fields. So I want to see the search the org for, say, here, Leanne Remmel. So I see right away her details, her title, her account name, phone. I don't have to dig too deep. It's immediately available to me. So that's a cool feature. And then we should try to have the same layout structure on all record pages to streamline for the end user training. So for instance, if contacts have this layout, retails related, activity chatter, opportunities, we want to have the same. So this one is a split view, which I love, but there's this list view. And we see the same layout, details related, activity chatter, same layout. Consistent layout will help in end user training and make them feel relaxed with the platform and not overwhelm them too much. Then also provide accessibility from desktop and mobile. So this we can configure in the Lightning pages by making the form factor desktop and phone. And then, as I mentioned, use the record details tab component as a default first tab on all record pages. So use the same layout structure on all record pages to streamline end user training, narrow column on the right side, the broader column on the left. And if it is details, if the default is details, it's easy to see the main information, and related should be the next tab, but the default should be details. So that helps the user to get the details right away and not keep fumbling and find the right information that they want. So organize the tabs on the record page. The details tab is the primary tab displayed when the page loads, and also add for instance here, these are related list quick links. This is a very quick win. If this is actually available in Classic, but in Lightning, we can avail the same functionality by dragging in the related list quick links. And this is a very cool feature where you immediately see if there are opportunities, cases, etc. So for instance, here there's none, but if we go here, yeah, we can immediately see from here in Lightning pages, this can be made available through related list quick links, and which is available if you go to Lightning page here. just drag and drop related list, quick links to right here. It's a really cool feature, and we should add it to all our pages for adding the end user adaptability to the Lightning pages. So then also moving on to the next one is add standard and custom utility items like history, give ability to quickly access records like key contacts, accounts, my open opportunities, my team cases, my contacts, my overdue tasks at the bottom. This helps, so use the utility bar to provide console-like features to all users. So for instance, if we go back to our record here, and we can say my contacts, and if I open it up, it opens up like a console on the side, and like a remote control, I can actually view all my contacts like this. So end users can feel that this is really cool, easy to access. So add the utility bar at the bottom with the list views that are really useful for the end user, and they will feel wowed by that. So this can actually open up, and you can use, it's very easy to navigate through here, like recent items. So moving on, then adding path to the page layouts is a very, very valuable feature to be tapped. So we should have correct fields and add guidance for success on top, like here. But this is an opportunity record. And like for here too, I added paths to each of my pages. Path is available for opportunities and leads, but you can create path for any object with the pick list value like stages or status. And the path will be available. And I have like created confetti, use of confetti if it is active or success somewhere. So even in the custom objects, you can create path to show the movement or the milestones of that progression. So yeah, right here, for instance, it's complete. So this is a custom object and the path is there. So use the path as when appropriate below the compact layout. Consider hiding path when appropriate. When it's not required, hide those elements which are not required. And use of confetti. And this adds more consistency. So stages are a really cool way for the end user to adopt the Lightning pages. Quick actions can add a lot of value. I really love this feature of Notion that you can open as a brand new page, every line item. I find that a very cool feature of Notion. So for instance, this is a quick action new quote on opportunities. I open one opportunity like this one, and I can create a new quote instantly with some fields pre-filled, and also some fields already pre-filled, and also we have ability to choose from here. So, so I can quickly save it to and create a new quote. So that way, if you go to related list and see the quotes, it's there. This quote is there. So it got created really fast from the button here. It's a cool functionality. So use of quick actions. Then duplicate notification where required. So for instance, here on the left-hand side, you can have duplicate notification, for instance, in contacts. And I have this one. There is this, we have found no potential duplicates. That is cool. And then suppose I have created this one and I have this, it's called toast, duplicate toast and duplicate card. So I have both those things available. You can choose which one to display from here. This is a Lightning contact page. And if I go to this element, I can say either show both, or I can say show toast or show card. I think show card is the most popular one. So if I save that and move back to the contact record, you'll see only the card shows, not the toast, not that gray box that was a toast. So duplicate notification is good functionality to offer. And then global actions, trim it to 3 or 4, like log a call, new task, new event, email. You can quickly create new task, new event, email. Those are very cool and everybody likes those. So for instance, if I want to create a new task, presentation, and due date is today. And I'll say contact, it's linked to this contact, but also related to this account. And then I can see that those people will have that task also associated. So for instance, here, I just said, did I say Panther? Well, here there's one, there's presentation. So basically the account and the related contact also get that task associated in their record and you can see them there. So it's really cool to create quickly upcoming tasks about. So like that, and this is a really cool functionality to offer your end users. You can also send an email. So if it's a thank you email or something, you can add a template here. You can insert a template here and you can send it really quickly just from the global actions right here. And also you can create an event similarly and related to contacts and accounts, and it shows up in their activity section as well. So that's really cool feature to adopt and give offer to your end user. Then also teach the end users the use of favorites features and validation rules. So favorites feature is my favorite. For instance, here, if I want to say my contacts, I want to favorite it, which I've already favorited it here. And then I can see all my favorites listed here when I go to the drop down here. I also have the ability to edit the favorites from here. So I can call it my business contacts, my tennis contacts, anything, and it saves as that. And you can also reorder it like this to show. And then if you go here and you'll see the same my tennis contacts right here in the drop down. So closing this quarter, opportunities closing this quarter is my favorite. So it's very easily available from here and then from the objects drop down. That's a cool functionality to offer and teach the end users. And validation rules, for instance, if I have an account here and then I want to change it as a system admin to another record type like this one and save it, I'm able to do it. However, if I log in as the other user, please keep yourself as mute. If I log in as the other user and try to change the record type here, and I cannot do it because this is only system admin can do it, the other user cannot do it. So this kind of validation rules keeps the data clean, and only the person you want is able to change that. So that's the validation rules. And then page performance reports on page performance. So for instance, here, use report chart components to show relevant metrics on home page. So for instance, if all accounts, the recent deals, today's events, today's tasks, recent records, those are the kind of things you want to show, then you can show those relevant metrics on home page. And also this is like the usage that we already covered before. So those kind of report charts are really good ones, and teach your users how to create those kind of reports. Then create list views example, contacts who are customers but haven't checked in the past 90 days. So you can create these kind of reports and teach them how to use all my activities with due date, etc. Those kind of things. Open pipeline of activities and tasks to log into particular activities and lock updates. And then, for instance, we want to know active licenses, permission sets, feature permissions, all those. We can create those kind of report charts for. Can you please keep yourself on mute? Yeah. All right. And then home page list views, we already covered that. Use rich text components to show relevant hyperlinks, alerts, and reminders, and homepage list views to provide easy access to relevant records. So for instance, if I go to homepage here, to opportunities here, and open this opportunity, and if I say the amount is 1.5 M, and comma, it should be 0.5, and save it, then I immediately see this rich text. So you can make those kind of dynamic features and wow the customers, wow your end users, they feel thrilled at these things coming up. So you can use those rich text components to show alerts, reminders, hyperlinks, etc. And then list views obviously give us easy access to relevant records. Moving on from there, Kanban views of list views is easy way to get the key information. So one was from that utility bar, Kanban view. And then if you go to say opportunities here, and you see here in the drop-down Kanban, and you can see that each stage has some opportunity under it. And you can also see the total of that. So for instance, I want to move this 25 opportunity to proposal stage. And you see that the amount is recalculated here. And so also it shows this kind of warning sign. So you can attach a new task or event to this particular stage of opportunity right here from the Kanban view, which is really cool and very good functionality that's offered. Also, if you group it with, then you can have the ability to create charts from here. So that was a quick overview of Kanban views and the functionality they offer. Then one reason for slow page loading is that pages contain too many components. And then you can see the most important factors in predicting page load times are Octane 2.0 score, network latency, download speed, amount of customization to a given page. So all these factors, basically you can do the performance test by going to that link and checking the performance of how your pages are doing. Then using in-app guidance to boost productivity and use rich text to wow your end users. So in-app guidance is like help text for different things, and you can use that. And also I just demonstrated the use of rich text. So I come to the end of my presentation here. The resources are, I created this presentation after completing this batch, super batch, Lightning Implementation Specialist. It covered most of those concepts and it was a great learning. Also, I will post this link, share it with you. It's a presentation link from Notion if you want to see how I created this presentation in Notion. You can see from here. And that was all for me for this segment where I demonstrated the Lightning implementation features and the end user, how you can wow the end users and help them adopt Salesforce better. Next up, I hope you liked it and it was gained some extra.
Yeah, it's so nice, Deba. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Also, I'll give you an Excel page where you can please add your first name and last name. So we can do the spin the wheel. Yeah, and these are some, from the grapevine.
One more thing, that Notion page is not working. I mean, when I try to log in, we are getting no permission.
Okay. Well, share to the web, copy.
No, it's working. I just click and it's working.
Oh, maybe for me.
Okay. Also, if you have any questions, please let me know.
Hey, Shiba, I don't have access to the Excel sheet.
To the Excel sheet?
Yeah, you just shared.
Oh, its access is denied. 1 second. Thought I shared.
Same here, Shiva.
Any questions on my demo of Lightning features? Let me know. I'll just repost the Excel sheet right now.
I do not have any questions, Siva, but I must say the comment here that this is the actually demandable thing by the business users who use the Salesforce as a end user for if we have this in our pocket, we can rock definitely.
Yeah, thank you, Dipti. Yes, I have gone through so many interviews and even scenarios at workplace where they said, make a presentation to the end user and make sure they are able to, like what your development was. So
yeah,
I've had a lot of those experiences.
Even I don't know. These are some of the features related to performance and which is really impactful. There are heavy enterprise environment where we have to do this all exercise. Yeah.
Yes, because all our development is not to show how skilled we are in epics or flows. It's for the end user. So ultimately, you have to show how your development can improve their experience in the end. So you have to use all those features we can, so we can please them and they can enjoy the development that we do. I'm going to, so we were on, I was just sharing this grapevine slide. Just make it big screen. So one of the nice quotes I came across was, it doesn't matter how slowly you go, so long as you do not stop. I really believe in that because sometimes we are just rushing through things, but it's not the race, it's the journey. Is everything okay? So yeah, I feel one should enjoy your journey and don't feel discouraged if you're going slow or you're feeling too much pressure from social media. Just keep going and not stop. That's what matters. So Dreaming in Color is round the corner. It's end of June. I don't know if anyone is going. I'm not. So yeah, but it's there. And then I feel Deepthi covered so beautifully the automation she created. But I'm sure the process must have been to understand, document, and then build, right? So I think those are the 3 steps to automation success. And I think that was given in the Salesforce admin blog as well. Also in the Salesforce admin blog, there was these skills for admin success. There's business skills, and then there's technology skills is equal to admin success. So these were listed. So the technical skills would be process automation, like what we just showed, designer's mindset, which is I showed, and then data analysis, problem solving, communication, learner's mindset, attention to detail. A lot of things you might have just grasped from our presentations today. So also there's some nice links here on Flowonatics and Automation R. And, there's this awesome admins blog that I follow, and the videos Automate This. They keep coming up with new topics, and that's really cool. One should do that. And also there's also a lot of demand for Slack HQ admin and developer skills. It's expected to skyrocket. So Business Insider shares 3. I'll share this slide deck as well, so you guys can check out these links. So Business Insider shared 3 ways to skill up for Slack HQ and developer skills. So that was it. And then please ask any questions to us presenters. Let's stop share, and you're free to ask us any questions. Kevin, are you asking to share the Google Sheet? I've shared with everyone. Everybody's already filled their names. Gaurav, do you want to unmute yourself and ask that question? Everybody's filling, Kevin.
Yeah, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
Ma'am, the features you told about that these are these available right now?
Yes, they are.
Oh, perfect.
The latest one was that dynamic list that I talked about. That was summer 22, but others have been there for quite some time now.
That's great, ma'am, because I've encountered sometimes that client is asking that if I can operate in a split screen, just like that you showed us, and it's really helpful in navigating.
Yeah, well, thanks. Glad it was helpful.
Yeah, ma'am, really, it was helpful. Thank you.
So I see a lot of names now. Kevin, okay, I see your name too. Great, thanks you. Thank God that you were able to access. You can ask any further questions if you have.
Will you be sharing this Zoom video with us since it's recorded?
Yes, so the links I've shared in the chat on top has the YouTube link as well.
Okay.
And yeah, I post the recordings there. We will also post the PPTs, our presentation links. So you can further see and look into it, the points raised.
Yeah, there's a request for sharing that links again.
Oh, the same link, the YouTube link. Okay,
Yeah.
let me check that. If you want the YouTube link specifically, I can share that. Because the whole recording as well as the PDFs would be going there. Now that's the San Ramon YouTube channel. Please subscribe and follow us there. And we will certainly be posting there. All our previous recordings, Deepti's first presentation on flows is also there if you want to catch up to that one. I hope everybody's filled up their names in that sheet.
Also, they can share their LinkedIn